I hope you enjoyed that. We've got 10 copies of The Code, the book we just reviewed, to give out to 10 people. If you want to be in with a shot at winning a copy, simply respond to the following question. If you could convince any Nigerian woman who is a public figure to write her autobiography, who would it be and why? Send us your answer through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. We will get back to you if you are one of the lucky winners, and we'll announce your name in the next 2 episodes. Up next is an event and a woman focused on getting Nigerians to think about books in terms of business and personal branding. Enjoy this.
Great something. And now this guy is all over.
Oladunni wants to get Nigerians thinking about books from an entrepreneurial perspective. She's trying to raise those she calls bookpreneurs.
A bookpreneur is someone that likes to read and write, an entrepreneur that makes a lot of visibility, credibility, wealth and posterity from reading and writing books.
Oladunni's vision is to see more bookpreneurs emerge in Nigeria who will use books as leverages for business and branding purposes.
This particular one, I target the Nigerian bookpreneur, and majorly because I was at an event in the United Kingdom, and somebody said something that, you know, a lot of people keep saying over and over again, that if you really want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And I stood up and I said, I beg your pardon, I'm a black woman. And guess what? When I looked around the entire hall, I was the only black person in that hall. So I told them the game has changed. And now I'm back home to ensure a lot of people understand what a book can do for them, how a book can take them into places. If you write a book, where you've not gotten to, your book we can get there. If the content is solid and is rich, it will actually move you from invisibility, instability. It will move you to visibility. It will give you tons of credibility, tons of free advertisements, and it takes you into places in life. So I want more Africans, particularly more Nigerians. And you know, the Nigerian brand needs a lot of rebranding. So I want us to be able to use books, because a lot of, somebody like Robert Kiyosaki, for example, has been able to use all those his books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, to rebrand where he came from. I want authors in Nigeria to be able to use books to also rebrand the nation, rebrand themselves, rebrand the people. There are a lot of wonderful ideas in Nigerians. I've seen a lot of Nigerians wrote. I have friends. There's a friend of mine that wrote a book called Supergirl to Superwoman. Just because she wrote that book, she was invited to the Queen's 90th birthday. She had a meeting with the richest woman in Africa because of a book. So Nigerians, please start writing.
It's the reason why she's organizing meetings to help Nigerians learn about the merits of writing their own books and how they can do it.
Can we give the latest author of the latest book in town?
This particular bookpreneur event was small-sized, yet full of learning contents for the participants. From savoring a rich collection of personal development books, to watching and listening to audio-visual learning materials, featuring world-renowned speakers, participants are able to learn ideas for writing their own books.
So, would you like to write a book in 10 hours? Okay. You have a book inside of you, let's get it out in 10 hours. It's time for change. It's time to cure invisibility. It's time to move up the ladder of wealth. It's time for transformational change in your life. It's time to write a book, even if you've written a book. It's time to write a book my way so that it ups your brand and ups your career.
And they had time to ask questions.
Most of the schools I teach, they don't have phonics textbook. So I felt, okay, let me start writing something. Then I met a book. I came across a book. I felt there are some things I know as a result of constant training, and I believed I could write something better. So I started writing the books in last year. But the challenge I faced is this: the cost of things in Nigeria. Even right now, I'm still trying to break it down to various classes, because I just want to release everything at a stretch. Is it advisable to go about it that way?
One thing I would like to say, one major point Raymond also mentioned is the fact that you don't necessarily have to wait for it to be perfect. So if you have basic 1, start with basic 1. If you have basic 2, continue with basic 2. Don't wait till you get to secondary school, because that time may never come. Things will change, will continue to change, and you may never get there. So what you have now, which you've built on, put it out there, you know. And of course, well, things will always go up, but there are different ways you can actually get your book out there. There are ways you can even get the school to pre-order the books such that they are the one that is paying for the prints. And there are ways you can have your book that you actually go global. You put it on Amazon or some other online facilities.
The question is, if there's an area you think is really important to be part of the book to make it more wholesome, and your knowledge in that area is not really enough, do you, 1, skip it and do without it, or get somebody else to write a part of that, even if it's not an established or a published author?
There are 2 types of books you write, a bookpreneur book. The first one is what we call a passion book. And the second one is what we call a profit book. A passion book is a book that comes right from here, from your experience, from expertise, your story, what you already know, blue ocean. That is a passion book. And the second one is a profit book. A profit book is a book that you probably need to research. You need to do some checks. You need to interview some people. You need to meet the experts in that area. Like this, my book is a profit book. Yes, I've been in oil and gas. I was in oil and gas for over a decade, but my core area wasn't refining. I just saw that need in Nigeria, and I've even interviewed some few people I think should at least start refining in Nigeria. They were like, no, there's no money in refining. And that's why if you notice, my subtitle says the ultimate guide to making big money. Because they know there's no big money. They'd rather sell the crude and export the crude to other nations than, you know, refine it here. So, and we have all the oil, and yet we are still dying at filling stations to buy fuel. It's very embarrassing, you know. So that was what came about this book. I had to do a lot of research because a profit book, there are a lot of areas I didn't know. I need to do some travels, I had to do some interviews, I had to talk to a lot of people, I had to do a lot of Googling and so on.
Perhaps events like this will start inspiring more Nigerians to become authors. After all, like the saying goes, there is a book in everyone.
Finally, before we go, the author of the book titled Eze Goes to School, which was published in 1966, has died. Author Nzeku, the pioneer general manager of the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, died on the 21st of April 2017. He was 89 years old. After the book Eze Goes to School was published, it went on to become one of the most popular and important works of literature used in schools across Nigeria for many decades. Author Nzeku was a prolific writer and editor. He was also the author of Wand of Noble Wood, High Life for Lizards, Blade Among the Boys, The Chima Dynasty in Onitsha, Faith of Our Fathers, and many other works of fiction and non-fiction. We will certainly miss one of Nigeria's most accomplished writers. May his soul rest in peace. This is where we have to stop today. We look forward to getting your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I am Oladunni Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.